How to spot a bad engine before buying a car. Not after you've signed, not after the first long trip, before you hand over a single dollar. Because here's what happens to millions of people every year. They test drive a car, it feels fine, the seller says no issues, and the engine sounds okay to an untrained ear. Then, a few weeks or months later, they're met with a check engine light, strange noises, oil burning, overheating, and huge repair bills. Suddenly, that great deal doesn't look so great. Most of this is avoidable if you know what to look for. You don't have to be a mechanic, you just need a system. If you're still buying cars based on vibes, clean paints, and what the seller tells you, you're leaving yourself wide open. Subscribe now because on this channel, we break down how to read cars like a mechanic before they become your problem. Every video you skip is more money you're gambling blindly. Let's go step by step through how to spot a bad engine before you buy. Step 1. Don't trust a warm engine. Smart sellers know engines sound best when they're already warm. A warm engine can hide cold start rattles, hide startup smoke, and mask weak oil pressure sounds. So when you arrive, pay attention. If the engine is already running when you get there or clearly just shut off, that's suspicious. You want to hear and see it cold if possible. Politely say, "Can you leave it cold for me? I'd like to do a cold start." A good seller will understand. A bad one will make excuses. On a cold start, listen for loud rattles from the timing chain area, heavy knocking, or long cranking before it finally starts. A brief, soft noise for half a second can be normal on some engines, but consistent, loud rattling or knocking is a huge red flag. Step 2. Check the oil, the car's blood. You don't need a lab, you just need your eyes and your nose. With the engine off and parked on level ground, pull the dipstick. Wipe it, reinsert it fully, then pull it again. Check 3 things. First, the level. If it's below the low mark or barely on the stick, that can indicate neglect or serious oil consumption. Engines that run low on oil die young. Second, check the color and consistency. Fresh oil is golden or amber. Used oil will be darker, that's normal, but it should still look like oil, not tar. If it's thick, sludgy, or has obvious chunks, walk away. Third, test the smell. If it smells strongly like raw gasoline, that can mean fuel is getting into the oil, which is not good. If it smells burnt and harsh, the engine may have been run too long or the engine has been overheating. Also, look around the oil fill cap and inside if you can see. Thick, mayonnaise-like goo under the cap can mean condensation from lots of short trips, but heavy sludge buildup is a very bad sign. Milky, coffee-colored oil or foam can indicate coolant mixing with oil due to a blown head gasket. That is an instant deal-breaker, unless you're buying it as a project. Step 3. Look for leaks and too clean areas. Open the hood and really look. Is everything covered in oil and grime? That's neglect. Is everything sparkling clean in just one area? That can mean fresh cleanup to hide leaks. Pay special attention to the valve cover edges, the front and rear of the engine block, the area where the engine meets the transmission, the power steering pump, and the coolant hoses. Look underneath the car if you can. Look for any wet, fresh oil drips, any green, orange, or pink coolant stains, or any black, greasy buildup around the axle seals or oil pan. A little seepage on an old car can be manageable, but active drips, especially of coolant or engine oil, can quickly become expensive. Also, look around the ground where the car is usually parked. Stains tell stories. Step 5. Check the coolant, the engine's lifeline. Overheating kills engines faster than almost anything. Only open the coolant reservoir cap when the engine is cold. Never do this when it is hot, or you can burn yourself. Coolant should generally be green, pink, blue, or orange, depending on the type, but it should be translucent, not brown swamp water. It should be free of oil floating on top and free of chunky rust particles. If the coolant looks like mud, the cooling system has been neglected. If you see an oily film or the level is way low for no reason, that can be a sign of internal leaks or head gasket issues. Also, look at the radiator fins from the front to see if they are crusty, smashed, or clogged with debris, and check the upper and lower radiator hoses to ensure they aren't rock hard, swollen, or cracked. Step 6. Watch the exhaust, the smoke test. When the engine is warmed up, have someone gently rev it while you stand behind out of the direct line of the exhaust. You're looking for smoke color and behavior. No visible smoke is great, and a tiny puff of light vapor on a cold morning is normal, but thick blue smoke means it's burning oil. Cloudy white smoke, once warm, can mean burning coolant, and heavy black smoke means too much fuel. If you see blue smoke when the car is revved after idling or blue smoke on deceleration, that usually means worn valve seals or rings. If there's a sharp, sweet smell and white smoke that doesn't stop once it's warm, that's often coolant, pointing to a possible head gasket failure. Either way, big, persistent smoke means a big bill coming. Step 6. Listen like a mechanic. With the hood up and the engine idling, listen from different angles. Healthy engines usually have a smooth, even hum or light ticking from the injectors, with no loud knocks and no sharp metallic clanks. Bad sounds to watch for include deep, rhythmic knocking that rises with the RPM, which could be rod knock and is highly serious. Sharp tapping that increases with RPM suggests a valley train or lifter issue. Chain rattle at startup that continues when warm points to timing chain tensioner or guide issues, which can be expensive. Whining or grinding from accessory pulleys means the alternator, water pump, or belt tensioner is failing. If you're not sure, record a short video with sound. A good mechanic can often tell a lot just by listening later.
Step 7. Feel it on the test drive. Start normally and observe. Does it start easily without long cranking or stumbling? Does it idle smoothly, or does it shake and hunt up and down? While driving, pay attention to the power delivery. Notice if it feels consistent or if it hesitates, bucks, or surges. Watch out for any misfires, which feel like a skipping sensation under load, and any engine warning lights. If the check engine light is on or flashing, do not ignore it. Find a safe stretch, stay in a mid-gear, and give it steady, moderate throttle. Watch the temperature gauge carefully. It should rise to the normal operating range and then stay there. If it creeps up or climbs higher in traffic or on hills and doesn't come back down, the cooling system may have problems. Also, watch the idle after a drive to see if it overheats or runs rough once fully hot. Step 8. Check the dash and the tricks. When you first turn the key to the on position, but before starting, all the dash warning lights should briefly light up. If the check engine or oil light never appears at all or looks covered or taped over, that's a massive red flag. Someone may have physically disabled the light. When the engine starts, the oil light should go out within a second or two, and the check engine light should go out shortly after. Don't accept vague excuses like, "Oh, that's just an oxygen sensor," without proof, because some small codes can point to much bigger issues. Step 9. Scan it if you can. If you have access to an OBD2 scanner, use it. You can see live data like coolant temperature, fuel trims, and misfire counts. You can review stored and pending trouble codes and check whether codes were recently cleared. If everything was just cleared, the car may not show codes yet, but will in a few drive cycles. That's the classic trick of resetting the computer right before a sale. Step 10. Get a professional inspection. This is the step that saves the most money, especially on anything newer, complex, or expensive. Tell them specifically that you want to know if the engine is healthy, if there are leaks, an overheating history, or signs of abuse. Yes, it costs money, but compared to the cost of an engine swap, a blown head gasket, or a major repair, it's nothing. If the mechanic tells you to walk away, listen, there will always be another car. To make this simple, there are some instant red flags that should make you leave immediately. Milky oil or coolant that clearly has oil mixed in, heavy blue or white smoke once warm, loud rod knock, severe overheating on a test drive, or a seller who refuses to let you get an independent inspection. Not every used car will be perfect, and on a cheap, older car, minor oil seepage or a minor valve tick might be acceptable if the price reflects it. What you're trying to avoid is an engine that's already halfway to failure. If you've listened this far, you're not the average buyer. You actually care about not getting burned, and that alone puts you ahead. If you don't want to be that person who ignores the signs ever again, hit subscribe. Every car has a story, and every engine has a past. I'm GearHead, and together we're going to learn to read those stories before they cost you thousands.